Hey, what's going on, guys? It's John with Lothringer's Garage. I wanted to do a video on the affordable bender that I recently bought. When it comes to tube bending, there's a couple different options on the market. You know, there's the Harbor Freight piping bender, which bends pipe, not tubing, as I quickly found out. I'm new to this fabrication thing, so I'm trying to learn as I go. So long story short, you can use the Harbor Freight pipe bender. You should probably pack your tubes with sand. You're gonna have to grind out the different dyes that they include. Pipe is measured by the ID, whereas tubing is measured by the OD. So there's a lot more involved in trying to make that work. You know, if maybe have like one or two bends for a small project you're doing, that would probably work fine. There's the Affordable Bender by Affordable Bender Inc. That's the one that I opted to go with. I ended up going with the air over hydraulic ram, that we don't have to sit there and keep cranking it. And then on the upper end, you have products like JD Bender, the JD Bender. You have Woodward Fab. There's a couple other ones out there as well. So I went middle of the road with the Affordable Bender. It's been very interesting to put together, to say the least. This version of the bender is meant for a Harbor Freight 12-ton air over hydraulic jack. They've recently discontinued that one. So now I'm using the red jack, as you'll see. The old one used to be gray, and there's some modifications you need to make in order for it to fit. So I'm gonna kind of cover those and what's involved in getting this thing set up, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the first test bend with it. So this is our affordable bender. It comes from affordablebender.com in a raw finish. You're gonna have to prep it and paint it. I went ahead and used the Seymour semi-gloss black. I love this stuff. And then we're gonna be lubing everything up with the penetrating oil that they offer. The affordable bender is MIG welded construction. You'll see as it goes together, you got a pin here for the die. There's a pin on the bottom here for the roller. Your jack's gonna go in here. This kit ships loose. It comes with this piece of tubing up here that the top of the jack goes into. So you can see this can screw and unscrew, and then there's a retaining screw right here that will capture underneath here, so that way when you let off the pressure, the bottle jack doesn't fall. On top of that, it comes with a plate, and this is where some of my issues started. So this is a 1/4-inch plate that I put together. I had originally put it together with the 1/8-inch plate, and it bent. So I'm not sure if that was due to user error or what, but I decided just to recreate it, be a little bit more heavy duty. As you'll see when this thing operates, this is our die here for 1 3/4-inch tubing. Basically, the die sits like this in the bender, and then the bottle jack, this bracket goes on top there, and it will twist this thing like this. And what I ended up doing was I got the jack too close. I didn't have it in the right position, and couldn't do like a 90-degree bend. And the whole point of this is to be able to do one single 90-degree bend. So I went ahead and recreated that bracket. It comes with the pins, the roller. It also comes with these guide pins as well, along with a hardened metal bracket that goes on the end here to secure your tubing. So we're gonna go ahead and put this thing together and get into it. So now you can see we went ahead and put the die in here. Swings like that, and then we also have our roller in the back over here. So we're going to go ahead and get the bottle jack in here now. We also have this clamp on here too. You know, the goal of this bender with the air over hydraulic is to have it set up here on my workbench and be able to just use my air compressor to start doing my bends. I don't have to sit there and manually pump it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this put together. So now we've got this thing fully put together. So we got the bottle jack in place up here. A couple things to note. I went ahead and cut the jack handle off because it wasn't going to fit in there. And then when you go ahead and get this pushed all the way down, what you're going to notice is you can't reach the relief. So I actually welded the handle here onto the relief valve for the jack. I have 2 locations that I drilled to position the jack. I have one up front here and one in the rear. You can really put them wherever. You just need to go ahead and drill through the casting for this. It doesn't come with the holes in it. Something to also note for myself, one of the issues that I had that was probably part of my problem with my bracket was that I ended up cutting off the front of the casting. I had an issue early on where I was actually hitting the die. So I went ahead and clearanced the casting just to realize that the relief valve is in the way anyways. So I guess one too many beers, but that's all right. So now that we have this thing together, I'm gonna go ahead and fire up the air compressor and get some tubing in here and go ahead and do our first test bend. So now I have us set up with some 1 3/4-inch 065 wall. This stuff is pretty thin. It's just some leftover that I had. So we go ahead and zero out our angle finder. And I'm going to go ahead and plug the compressor in and record, go ahead and bending this for the first time. So I did go ahead and lube up my die on the backside. With this stuff being so thin, I do expect it to maybe crinkle a little bit. But honestly, I'm just going to be using this as some mock-up pieces before moving to my 120 wall stuff. So now that we can turn that thing off, go ahead and see, bent that thing pretty quick, went a little over 90. I assume it's going to have a little bit of spring back, so I'll be able to measure it after that. But either way, you know, I mean, that is so much better than having to sit here and hand crank it. Now you can see a couple things. You can see how close that plate is to the die, so we can do just a hair over 90. Another thing is where this relief valve is supposed to be in relation to the bottle jack. So now you can see why I went ahead and welded this on there, so I can go ahead and flick that up like that and start relieving some of the pressure off of here. So go ahead and let that thing get out. Looks like we might run into a little stop right there doing 90, so we'll go ahead and loosen this up. And we will see how it worked out. So like I said, looks like we do have a little bit of dimpling here, but with this stuff being so thin, you know, there's only so much you can really ask from it. So go ahead and I'm going to get this tube out of here and we'll take a look. So I went ahead and got our tube out of here. Just as I expected, with this stuff being so thin, like I said, I believe it's 065 wall. We got a little bit of rippling here on the corner. You know, obviously this isn't going to be used for anything structural. This really is just going to be a mock-up piece for me to be able to see where the tube starts and where the tube bends. I went ahead and zeroed it out here on the horizontal run and put it onto the inside over here. We're at 89.1. Obviously there's going to be a little bit of spring back just with steel. It's going to be different for every piece. But I mean, for a total package of all in, the bender without the air over hydraulic jack was, I believe, about $340, $350 at Affordable Bender. And then the bottle jack itself is about $110 at Harbor Freight. I mean, that's so much easier than sitting there trying to use that piece of junk and trying to get some halfway decent results. So I've seen a lot of other guys that have had good success with thicker tube. Like I said, I mean, this stuff is just, honestly, it's so thin. I'm happy with that, and I can't wait to keep using this thing as we keep pushing along on this thing. So next steps up for this car is going to be getting our main cage idea put together, getting that bent, and then starting to build some structural pieces on the back side of it. We need to cut the torque tube out of here and weld in some 1 3/4 inch DOM 120 wall along the bottom. We're going to be building some rear suspension arms, and we're also going to be building sort of a bird cage for the engine and transmission that'll be going in this. That way we can build some camber adjustment on the bird cage. And for the front, we have to go ahead and pull up the cross member up front here and run through the cab. We'll be running some bars probably from the top of the cross member into the knee bar. So really getting that main cage done is going to be my next step. So please follow along in the process on this thing. It's going to be a lot of fun and, you know, learning as I go here in my garage. So thank you again. And, you know, really looking forward to working with this Affordable Bender and getting some progress done. So thank you.